Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you watched the last video, you saw that we seam sealed the inside and outside. That's with the black seam seal. It's a seam seal I use. I used to use a different gray style one, but this one I really like. It's a different material. It really sticks well. It's almost like a rubbery polyurethane type of thing. You saw that we cut and cleaned up the spring pockets, welded them back in, cleaned them back up, smoothed everything out, stuck everything back together in the front end. Then we moved on to the back, we moved the bed and started tearing everything apart. Once we got everything out and disassembled, axle housings over there, I went ahead and cut new plates, as the plates that were on the notch prior, not enough material to weld to. And if you can weld to it, it's going to be not enough material for you to sit long enough to get it hot enough. So we went ahead and welded our own plates in. They're fully welded completely. As usual, we'll show you them. They're actually still pretty warm. I just leaned my leg up against it. And it's still nice and warm and toasty. You can see the heat transfer down at the bottom and all the way around. Because why? I welded the bottoms there, yeah, everywhere. So now that that's done, the next step, I cut out the bar that went across. That's the upper bag mounts. I didn't like the placement of it. And if the pinion angle is wrong on that rear end, then I'm gonna have to readjust the angle to this bar. So we'll go ahead and clean up the ends, make it nice and smooth. I need to grind down these welds because I only need one tack on each end of where that weld's gonna be. No need for all this. Friendly reminder, this isn't sheet metal. Do a tack in the beginning, throw you a tack in the end. This also doesn't look like I said in the last video, that it was prepped. All the material should be shiny. A shiny hiney. When there's no contaminants on it, then you're gonna get a better weld. Then we're gonna move on. We'll clean that up, but we won't need it yet. What we have to do next is start tearing this axle housing down. The axles that are in it are just temporarily welded together. That one over there, I feel like it's already broke, but we need to pull pretty much all the tabs off of this axle housing, smooth it out. We'll set it in the narrowing jig and double check it to make sure it's straight. Once we know it's straight and true, then we can go ahead and set it in place where it belongs at half travel. We'll get it square, because it wasn't square, it was a 1/2 inch off, and we'll get it leveled with the frame and the floor. Also, while pulling out that cross member, it relieved a lot of pressure. This was sitting a lot higher than this. I was able to set my hand in between here. So it definitely leveled out the frame back to where it was, it looks like. I know these ain't perfect. I know these trucks have miles on them, but you still want to get that chassis as square as possible. So let's go ahead and let's see. Like I said, we'll go ahead and clean this one up. Then we'll move on to the housing. all tore down and set up in the jig. Customer wanted me to verify and make sure it was straight, so we did. We got the carrier out, and then we went ahead and got the axle shafts out that were used for mock-up. And just as I suspected, that one broke. So I used a little bit of ingenuity to get that piece out, because with the carrier in and the axle in, it's stopping me from pull the carrier out. And it was broke to about right here. So I couldn't push it into the carrier to go through it because it has this plate, and that plate is solid. So I couldn't go in at an angle from over here. So I used a coat hanger and was able to force it out enough and then be able to cradle it out with some pry bars and stuff. But it's set up in the jig. The bar moves, that hefty stainless steel bar. It's, I believe, 36 pounds, 38 pounds. It's a hefty bar. But customer asked me to check it, and it's correct. Are they 100% perfect? No. You really want to be able to spin these freely, like be able to hit it and it spin. This one has a little bit of tension, but it'll work fine. So next, I'll go ahead and take that jig out, put all that away so it stays nice and clean and fresh. And then I need to go ahead and more than likely just disassemble everything off this housing. I don't like this lower shock mount. It sits way low to the floor. Customer doesn't like it either, but there's limited areas at where you can mount this stuff. So we'll get it mocked up, we'll get it set into place where it goes, and then we can go ahead and figure out where we can put some shocks. Because below that pumpkin, that's low. That hangs far. So we'll get it set up like I said, and we also I need to get some measurements off this bed so I know where that true center line of the fenders are on that frame. Friendly reminder, as you already know, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications by ringing that bell. That way you get notified when you get updates on this as I move right along on getting this done. Updates on what's going on with this and what we're doing with it, and whatever else comes into the shop. I have another truck coming in, not those fenders, those fenders is for this bed. But all that other pile is for another truck coming in to get static and some helper bags. now that the nasty, extremely dusty, my floor is filthy, I'm gonna be doing an extensive amount of sweeping when I'm done. Normally I wanna sweep up every evening so it doesn't build up like it is now. There's all this right here, that over there, and what happens is you start tracking it everywhere. So I'm sure there's some over here. So when this truck's done, you better believe I'm gonna be opening all the doors, putting a mask on, and giving this thing a sweep fest. It's my personal preference, but it just bothers me. I don't like walking around with dirt under my feet. All right, back at it. We got all the tabs off of this, all smoothed out, ready to go. Both sides. We got all the tabs cleaned up, both sides. All the welds out of, there'd be a gap. Here, we'll go to the actual housing. See how there's a gap? That's a big no-no. We'll clean that up to where there's not a gap. You weld out, you grind down the edges of that. So if I go to put that up, see right there is fine. Nope, still nope. I don't want no gap. So when I go to get that mocked up and there's a little bit of gap, I'll be cleaning that out. It looks like these tabs were for a smaller axle tube. But these are the lowers, these are the uppers. Again, all cleaned up, shiny. There was no prep to the axle housing where these were tacked onto. And you might have saw, but I was able to smack a few off. But I went ahead and cleaned up inside and outside of these. And on the outside where I don't want to put that back, I don't like it. Customer had these made by, I believe, a family member. I'm not sure if we're gonna make these work. I might go and see a buddy if he's down for it and have these turned down all the way to about there. That way the shocks will slide right on, and then you can just put a bolt in there with a fat washer or a flange bolt that has a washer bolted into it or molded into it in one. But this will all be getting taken off. We're gonna go ahead and clean this up, but this I'll worry about once we get the axle housing where it belongs. Squared up and in position. We'll figure out that first before we do the bag mounts. But also, first, before anything, we'll set it in here and get it kind of where we want it. But I need to pull measurements, mark center between the wheel well, put a piece of tape across there, mark center, and then square it up and mark the center of the wheel well. That way I can run a string across on both sides and get a mark to that front body mount. Once I get a mark to that front body mount, then I'll go ahead and mark the center or where the axle needs to be centered inside that wheel well. So we'll go ahead and get on that now. mocked up in position and set into place. The pinion angle's set at 89 degrees. 1 degree down to get to 90, so that means it's 1 degree facing up. That's where the customer says they want it to be, so that's where we're placing it. That's half travel. It's not ride height, that's half travel. So now I need to get the welder out and go ahead and tack all these link bars in. Then we'll cycle the cycle the links, because I'm curious to know how much the pinion angle changes and how much it comes in. Because just like a circle, you start at half travel. That way when you go down and you go up, it pulls in the same amount. Otherwise, you're gonna lift and it'll pull hard and then won't pull at all when you lift. There's math to it. All right, we're gonna keep moving forward. Like I said, just need to get the welder out, get all this tacked up, cycle through the suspension, then we'll pull it all the way up and then start mocking up bag mount placement and go from there. Friendly reminder, I'm sure I've told you before, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring that bell. That way you turn on notifications. Subscribe, like, and comment. That way we get this algorithm going and get my videos out there. Thank you. I want to jump in here real quick in the middle of cleaning this up. This one, this bracket, I used the Sawzall to cut it off. This one, I knocked one tab down and some of the other one, and then just smacked it off. This one, I didn't cut it all. And then as you saw in the very last end of that clip right there, I was able to just smack it completely off. This is the one I trimmed. This one, not a mark of me cutting it. And this is the importance that I keep telling everybody about prepping your material. The two on the back of here go like this. They were lined up just like so. These two, I didn't even get the saw in there because it's the Sawzall. And before I get a cut wheel in there, I was like, well, let me just smack it. And ba-ding! Look at that, no penetration at all. Prep your material. Make it shiny. Shiny like a hiney. But for real, just like with paint work, it's the same thing with metal work. It's all in the prep. All right, let's get back into it. I'll clean all 4 of these items up. We'll get all 4 of those cleaned up. I'll clean up all this. We'll get all these welding tabs. I'll clean up this. I'm not sure if this is still getting used, but this will get cleaned up. And we'll get it ready and get it mocked up. We'll get everything mocked into place, tacked up, and then we'll cycle it through. We'll bolt up some airbags and we'll cycle it. Now that this is fully welded, I wanted to leave everything where it was. And since this was tacked in, I was like, well, let's go ahead and fully weld it before I weld it in place. Everything was tacked in, like I said. I went ahead and wrapped all the welds inside and out. We'll go ahead and show the welds as usual. Let's see if it'll focus. There you go. You know you like that. All right, like I said, all the way around. Inside, outside, down here. See if we can get down there and show you some more of the bottom side. And again, like I always say, make them parts shiny. That's pretty hot, so we'll let that sit. And then we will, like I said, set it in place. I'll put the screws in, we'll get it set right where it needs to go. We'll tack top and bottom. Then we can weld that in. but I won't weld it in just yet. I'll tack it in, top and bottom. Then we'll go ahead and pull that rear end. I'll weld that bar into place, the upper bag mount, and then we'll have this guy out on the stand over there, and we'll get it fully welded. So close to being done. Got it all welded up there. You can see, look at all that heat transfer. And then right here, this last pass from here to here, it got nasty. So I have to clean that out, which luckily it's just from right there to there, this little 1-inch piece. I was able to get everything else done, but I ran out of gas. I was pushing it. I was really wanting to see how close I can get that to empty. All right, we'll go ahead and load up. I have one full one over there, and one of those is empty. We'll go ahead and swap them out, as well as, I don't know if you can see is how foggy it is in here, smoky. This axle wasn't cleaned, so there's gear oil residue in there and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead, while I'm changing out this tank, I'm gonna go ahead and open that door and get that big fan going to suck some of this out of there. Then I'll show you the welds over there and then the welds on this. But like I said, we need to clean that little bit up, grind it out, and then I can re-weld it once we put some new gas on. All right, now that gas is switched out, everything is welded up. Like I said earlier, you see all the welds and the heat transfer. Same with this one, all the way around. Both sides, all the way around. Like I always say, you gotta cap those ends. Even if you just have to do another tack right there, just cap them. Make them solid. Welded that up. There was some holes at the bottom of these from when they cut the tube so long. I went ahead and just welded that up on both sides. This bar's still warm. It's warm, but it's not super hot. Get this thing turned over so you guys can see more of those beautiful welds in there. I mean, yeah. Sorry, the focus wants to jump around. But that's ready to go. We'll let that chill out. And then we'll get it back underneath the truck. And we'll get everything axle-wise. We'll get the axle housing put back in, all the link bars on. I need to put new fittings on the rear bags. I already have them right here. Some SMC, 1/2" MPT to 3/8 line. Then we'll get the shocks bolted up, and in the front, I need to go ahead and put the front shocks on. Oh wait, no. The front shocks, we need one of these doohickeys for the front or something like that. So I'll let the customer deal with that. But as I said, all welded up, beautiful welds. Next, we'll get it all set back into place. The axles show up in a few days. So once we get the housing in place and everything, the bags and all that set into place, and then we'll just hang out. It'll be a few days for me, but it'll be like a snap of a finger for you. all back together and aired out. The rear, you saw we put the axle housing back up underneath. Got all the link bars all bolted back in. Put new fittings in the airbags. I didn't show it, but I went ahead and cut off the ends. You want to make sure they're cut straight. That's what was in the fitting. You want this. This will cause a leak, so don't cut your air lines at an angle. I actually should probably pick that up. Then we put the shocks back on, bolted the bed, got the axles slid in, put the C-clips back in, and then bolted down the pin that goes through there, that big, thick, big pin. And then we got everything all set up. The customer is having the frame powder coated and all the link components powder coated. So that's why I didn't paint anything. That's all we're actually doing to this truck currently. The bed, I'm not sure if we're gonna be doing up next, but that's gonna be at a later time. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode and enjoyed me redoing what I could on this truck. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.